Welcome in, everybody, to the College Football Betting YouTube channel. Before we get to the video you came here for, please do me a very quick favor. Do your boy a solid. Go ahead, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Really does help me grow, really does help this audience grow. And, of course, we are going to be giving you good, unique, fun, informed college football betting content all season long. Also, of course, you can find full episodes of College Football Betting with Aaron Torres wherever you download podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, etc. Now let's get to the video you came here for. All right, one more team before the break, and it is, maybe the most fascinating team not only in the Pac-12, but I think in all of college football, and that's UCLA's crosstown rival, the USC Trojans. And listen, you don't really need me to tell you everything that has happened at USC this offseason, but I do think it is important on a show like this. If you've heard me make this speech, forgive me. First of all, I should mention USC's over-under win total set for 9.5. And to understand what you're getting into is, on the one hand, you're getting a team that finished 4-8 last year. And on the other hand, you're getting a team that has maybe done more of an offseason makeover via the transfer portal than any team in college football history. Not surprising. This was the first year of the one-time transfer. But let me just give you, again, a quick rundown of what USC did in the portal this offseason. Obviously, we know Caleb Williams, and I think, if you're listening to the show, you know that Lincoln Riley is the head coach. I, for one, am very excited. But Caleb Williams comes in at quarterback. But here is who else came in for USC via the portal, and I'm just going to name kind of the starting front-end guys. One, at running back, probably the top two running backs on the roster are both transfers. Travis Dye from Oregon, Austin Jones from Stanford. The top four wide receivers, probably all transfers. Jordan Addison from Pitt, Biletnikoff winner. Mario Williams, former top 50 recruit who started his career at Oregon. You also have Terrell Bynum from Washington, second leading wide receiver. Brendan Rice, second leading wide receiver from Colorado. Starting left tackle, Bobby Haskins from Virginia. On the defensive side of the ball, maybe the two best linebackers on your roster. Eric Gentry, transfer from Arizona State, former All Pac-12 freshman team member. And then also on top of that, Shane Lee, who started multiple games at Bama. Oh, and in the secondary, by the way, you also have Latrell McCutcheon, transfer from Oklahoma. Mekhi Blackman, transfer from Colorado. And it's worth mentioning, they didn't sign a big freshman class, but most of those guys will probably contribute this year. Damani Jackson, number one corner in high school football, is a freshman at USC. Raleek Brown, one of the top running backs in high school football, a freshman at USC. And so when you look at this team, on the one hand, yes, they went 4-8. On the other hand, yes, they did upgrade the roster exponentially. But you are still talking about, realistically, probably 50-plus new players on that roster. And on top of that, not only 50-plus new players, but probably 16, 17 guys of the starting 22, 11 on offense, 11 on defense that were not there. That is a lot to ask for. And so why I don't love USC one way or the other, again, their over-under is 9.5, is a couple things. One, are they just good enough in the trenches? And this is cliche, and you've heard every college football person that you listen to say this, but I think it's totally fair. To win at the highest level, not just to beat Alabama or compete with Alabama and Ohio State in the college football playoff race, to beat Oregon, to beat Utah, to beat some of these teams in the Pac-12, to beat UCLA, which again had an elite rushing attack last year. You got to be good in the trenches, and I just don't know if USC is there yet. Keep in mind, by the way, Lincoln Riley, everyone thinks of all the quarterbacks that he's gotten that are Heisman finalists, but a lot of what Lincoln Riley does is predicated on the run. As a matter of fact, a big part of the problem last year at Oklahoma was that it was their worst rushing attack under Lincoln Riley. And that was what led to Spencer Rattler's struggles, because they relied on him more as opposed to just allowing him, using the run to set up the pass. Go ahead and look it up. Worst rushing attack that Oklahoma has had since Lincoln Riley got there. And so you look at the bodies that they have up front. You look at, by the way, attrition. Keep in mind, if you're bringing in all these players from the transfer portal, it means that they're better than the guys you got. And so the question now becomes, this ain't Bama, this ain't Ohio State, this ain't these programs that we talk about. You have one or two weird injuries, it could potentially set you back, and you might not have a Pac-12 caliber player behind them ready to go. And so those are my concerns about USC, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, where they're going up against a lot of teams that like to beat you up at the line of scrimmage. Again, I know we make fun of the Pac-12. Utah is one of the most physical teams in college football. Oregon is one of the most physical teams in college football. USC doesn't play them this year. But UCLA, I just mentioned, elite rushing attack. They'll beat you up front. Ask LSU last year. Notre Dame, physical up front. Even Stanford, I just told you how bad Stanford is, but they're going to at least try to beat you up front. Now, whether they do or not is another story. But those are the teams that USC is going to have to beat. And so when I look at that and I look at a schedule that includes a road trip to UCLA, a road trip to Utah, which is obviously the biggest game maybe in the conference this year, a road trip to, again, Stanford. And I know I just told you that Stanford stinks, but Stanford has given USC problems in the past. Stanford beat USC pretty bad at the Coliseum last year. They have a pretty good track record against them. And there's just some weird games in the Pac-12 that are not going to be easy. USC has to go up to Oregon State, a place that they've historically not been great at. Last year they lost to Oregon State. They have to play Arizona State, which at least has talent. And again, you close with USC or UCLA on the road and Notre Dame at home. To me, this feels like probably more of a 9-3, 8-4 type team than 10-2, 11-1. It's a stay away, but if I had to lean one way, I would probably go with the under on the USC over-under win total of 9.5.